Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to Ask Flex episode 2. My name is XilentFlex, and this is a series where you guys send me emails with your questions regarding life, and I try to respond with the best words of wisdom that I can. So, without any more waiting and whatnot, let's go ahead and get started, and I'm going to read the first email that we have here for you guys today, or that I have here for you guys today. And this is from a young lady by the name of Emily V. And she says, "Hello, Excellent Flex. I've been having problems having a positive outlook on life in general. Lately, I've been very negative and mean to people. I hate it, but I just can't change. No matter how hard I try, I just can't have a positive outlook, and I find that bad things are always happening to me. I know I probably attract them to myself by being so negative, but how can I stay positive? I want to be that nice, positive person that everyone likes. Anything will help. Thank you for your time." Alright, so I gave this question a little bit of thought, and I've come up with three tips to help you gain a better positive outlook towards life. And I'm going to go ahead and give you the first one, and this is one that I've personally definitely put into use in my life, and I think it'll help anybody else, including you, Emily, in achieving a better positive outlook towards life. And that tip is just looking at things differently, and this applies to absolutely anything in life. And I'm going to give you an example from my own life and from a moment where I applied it to my life to kind of put it in perspective for you guys. So, Emily, like you, about a year ago, I had a moment. Actually, I don't really want to call it a moment. It was a period of time during school where I had a fairly decent amount of classes that I was having a really hard time in. And with those classes that I was having a hard time in, I began to worry. And I began to worry a lot about keeping the scholarship that I was on, because that scholarship was basically funding my 90% of my schooling. And without it, it would be very difficult. So I found myself stressing extensively over the fact that I might lose that scholarship. And that kind of sprouted out other thoughts. That stress made me depressed, because I started getting depressed as to thinking, if I lose this scholarship, I'm done. There's no way I can go back to school. There's no way I can finish school. If I lose this scholarship, my life is over. And with that depressed state of mind, I started to get mad, because I started to just pounce on myself, to beat myself mentally and say, "Why did you do this to yourself, man? You're stupid. How did you dig yourself in this hole? Look what you've done. Now you're going to jeopardize your entire schooling and lose everything that you've worked for. This is what you've worked for this entire time, to just fail and lose this lottery scholarship, and then your life's over." That's the mindset that I was having. And generally speaking, with all those frames of feelings and whatnot in my mind, I began to just be very, very angry day in and day out, because I didn't necessarily think I was going to make it. And I remember having that moment where I realized that I was just basically coming home from school 4 out of 5 school days a week, and I was just pissed every day when I came home from school. I was in a bad mood. And I found out after a month or so of this going on, because I'm not a negative person. I'm not a mean person. I know when I'm acting differently than I should be, when I'm feeling differently than I should be. And I knew that I'm not a negative person. And every day when I came home from school, I was feeling extremely negative and angry. So what I did is I sat down and I had to tell myself, what is it that's making me feel this way? Why do I feel this way? And I realized that it was the fact that I was afraid to fail. I was afraid of what would happen if I failed and lost my scholarship, and what would happen. And that fear created anger, because I was disappointed in myself. I didn't want to find out what would happen if I lost my scholarship. All these things. And so, because I was looking at it in a way where if I did fail and I did lose my scholarship, my life was basically over. And that's pretty much the worst way that anybody could look at a situation like that. And I understood that after I analyzed it. I took a step back and I said, you know what? There's a different way I can look at this. And I didn't do this on my own. My mom is a super awesome mentor, and I actually thank her for a lot of the things that I think I passed down to you guys. And her and I had a lot of talks, and it really took me stepping back and coming to the realization that I needed to change my outlook on this situation. I needed to take a step back and tell myself, you know what? Even if the worst possible outcome happens and I lose my scholarship, let's say I fail all of my classes. Say that happens. Does that mean that that's the end of the world? Is my life over from that point onward just because I failed my classes and I lost my scholarship? I'll let you guys think about that. Because that's what I told myself. And then I said, no. That is not, first of all, that is not the end of the world. Second of all, that's not the end of my life. So what I needed to do was look at it from a different perspective. I needed to tell myself, you know what? If all this happens, who cares? Obviously, it's not the best thing to fail your classes. It's not the best thing to lose your scholarship. That's not something to be happy about. But what you can do is look at it from a different perspective. You can do whatever you can to get yourself out of this hole, which is what I'm telling myself. At the same time, you can look at it from a different perspective. If somehow you don't make it, you know what? That's fine. It doesn't mean that I can't come back next semester. I can't take out a student loan. It doesn't mean that I can come back for redemption my next year and pull my grades up and get back to where I want to be. That's a different outlook that I could take on the situation compared to if I lose my scholarship, my life's over, FML. So what I'm trying to say is if you just analyze what it is that's making you feel that way. Why are you feeling negative? Is there a way that you can change that outlook? Analyze it. Think about it. Is there a different way that you can look at it? Is there a more positive way you can look at it? And if you feel yourself just genuinely being negative day in and day out, try to find those little sources to that negativity. What are those little things that's making you feel negative? And once you find those sources, think about them, analyze them. Tell yourself, what can I do to change my outlook on this? Because the way you act, the way we feel, is all based off of our own choices. We all choose to feel the way we do. If we want to be mad, it doesn't seem like this, but we choose every single feeling that we feel. You might think, because some random guy walked down the street and punched me in my face, I'm pissed. And I mean, guaranteed that's gonna frustrate most of us. But in retrospect, if you look at it from a psychological point of view, if a guy walks down the street and punches you in the face, you're deciding to be angry. You're deciding to be frustrated. You could say, a stranger comes by and punches you in the face, and you could stop yourself and say, you know what? I'm not going to be mad. I'm just not going to be mad. I'm going to choose to be happy because I have a choice to feel however I want to feel. Now, I'm not saying you guys should choose to feel happy if someone just walks up to you and dome rocks you. But I'm just giving you an example as to how you guys have more power than you think. You guys choose how you feel. You choose how you think. You choose how you act. So, my number one point is figure out how to look at your situation differently. Find those negative things, change them. Because those are the sources to the overall large negativity that I think you might be feeling in your life. And that's at least what it was for me. And I still work on it day by day. Finding and living a positive life is all about finding those little negative things, looking at them differently, changing them, improving them, getting rid of them. It's just a process. And don't think that just because you feel negative from time to time that you're living a miserable life. We all have days where we just feel like garbage. That's how life is. Life is like that sometimes, and we just have to accept that, one last tip that I want to just really give you before I leave, and this question took a lot longer than I thought it would, but my last tip is always appreciate what you guys have, and I mean that with all the words that I can mean that with. That didn't really make much sense, but appreciate what you have. If you're feeling down, if you're in a position where you don't feel like your life is where it should be because you don't have a lot of money, you can't buy this new Xbox game that you want, or you're still working this job that you don't really like, just take a step back and tell yourself you should appreciate what you have. Because there's a lot of people on this earth today that don't have many of the wonderful things that we all have the opportunity to take part in or indulge in or whatever. So think about it. There's people in Africa that don't have running water. There's people in Africa that don't have electricity. There's people in India that don't have electricity. I mean, there's people all over this world that are living in extremely harsh conditions. And sometimes we get too obsessed with this current world we're living in today. And we don't appreciate what we have. So sometimes if you just sit back and tell yourself, you know what, the fact that I have what I have today is awesome. The fact that I have it is awesome. And that in itself will help you appreciate what you have more justly, and it'll put you in a better state of mind because you're going to be happy for what it is that you have in the life that you're living. Now, I know there's only 3 tips, but this video is about to hit probably 11 minutes and 30 seconds by the time I finish, and I was planning on getting through more than one question, but I felt, I don't know, I felt I needed to explain my answer as I did, so I hope you guys don't mind me just doing one question. Maybe I'll bust out another video where I do 2 or 3 questions very quickly. But yeah, guys, super stoked to have this second episode of XilentFlex up. I had a lot of fun doing it. I actually had a hard time kind of gathering my thoughts, so I hope you guys made sense of what it is I was trying to tell you. And Emily, thank you for your question. I very much appreciate it. I think it was a great one. And best of luck. Just don't forget what I told you. And of course, there's other things you can do. I'm just giving you guys tips and tricks. So take with ease is what I have to say. And if you want to apply it to your life, go ahead and do so. That's cool. And if you don't want to, no hard feelings. I appreciate you guys just giving me a chance to teach you a little bit. Anyways, this video is about to hit 12 minutes, so I'm going to peace out before I waste any more time just kind of jibber-jabbering. So guys, as always, I appreciate the time you spent on this video, and guys, stay fly and stay fresh, and I will catch you later. Peace out.